Hello, Professor, and to everyone watching. Thank you for attending this meeting. This is the weekly development status report. Today we'll be presenting to you a presentation and update on our live client project, namely United Way Simcoe Muskoka. I'm thrilled to have you all on board. My name is Pravneet Singh, and I am the project manager from the project team. This project and presentation focuses on reducing poverty in the Simcoe, Muskoka, and Blue Mountains region in Canada, and we will be analyzing various KPIs and factors causing poverty in this region. We will be discussing the progress so far, aims, project deliverables, and client communications. So let's get started. Table of contents. So these are the table of contents: about us, the project overview, status, implementation plan, demonstration, the cost of the project, followed by the email communications, upcoming tasks, and a thank you note. About us. Here we have the project team consisting of 3 members. My name is Pravneet Singh and I'm the project manager and data scientist leading this project. Pushkar Singh Rawat is the developer in this project responsible for the BI dashboard development. Gurleen Buller is the data and business analyst leading the research part of the project, be it the data gathering, research, and analysis, and presentation skills. Project description. Our client focuses on improving lives and building communities by leveraging collective resources and mobilizing collective action to achieve the greatest impact. We want to be able to measure the impact that we are making with regards to our focus on reducing poverty and social inclusion, and to inform future planning in the Simcoe, Muskoka, and Blue Mountains region. Here we have the status of the project. The project status is on track, and we are in the development and testing phase of the project. Here we have the implementation plan. We have completed the requirements gathering, project documentation of the project progress, and designing of the project plan. The development and testing phase is running. Here we have the timeline of the project. We are currently in the midst of November in the testing and development phase. The project started from August 9th and will close out on the 12th of December. I now hand it over to Gurleen.
Thank you, Pravneet, for your insightful introduction to the project. Moving towards the next slide, we have the project deliverables. Following are the list of deliverables for our project. First is a presentation and Microsoft Power BI dashboard, which will outline the census data to identify needs and highlight all the KPIs which are important to the client. Then this dashboard will be updated quarterly to reflect the most current state of poverty based upon the data released by StatCan or various other official government websites. Then we have the machine learning model and the trend analysis of the data, which will be used to highlight the important contributing factors for the future. Moving towards the next slide, we have the project documentation, which includes MRP proposal, MRP charter signed by the client, as well as a SharePoint link, which contains all our timelines as well as the communications we have had so far. This slide is basically about the project demonstration, and it's a sketch which reflects our project's life cycle divided into 4 categories. First being the project initiation, followed by the planning and research, and the third being the execution of the project, which involves the creation of machine learning model as well as the Power BI dashboard. We are currently in this phase of our project lifecycle, and the last phase would be about the closing, which would mark the successful completion of the project. Moving towards the next slide, this is basically the data which was shared by the client. These are the snapshots of the data. This includes one Excel file, some PDFs, as well as Canada's official poverty indicators. Following are the Excel sheets of data we extracted from the census link, which were in those PDFs. And these are about the 3 counties and 3 regions we are dealing with: Simcoe, Muskoka, as well as the Blue Mountains. And now I would like to hand it over to Pushkar.
Thank you, Gurleen. So this is how our final data set looks like after we compiled it into a one data set. So we have merged the dataset from different sources which have different formats like CSV, Excel, PDF, and etc. So our dataset contains 17 entities and 52 columns, and majorly have 4 categories. The first one is demographic, second is health, third is income and education, and fourth is food insecurity. So now let me take you to the Jupyter notebook to show you the Python code. So this is the Jupyter notebook where I have written the Python code. So the first step is to read and understand the data. So first, we have imported the NumPy, Panda, Matplotlib, and other Python libraries which are required to perform EDA. Then we imported the dataset, and this is how it looks like. This dot shape function is used to determine the dimension of our data frame, and it is showing 742 rows and 52 columns. This dot info function is showing the types of data type which we have in our dataset. And then we have used .describe function. And .describe function is used to provide this summary statistical for numerical data in our data frame. So the next step is to handle the missing values. So as we have a raw data set, it has lots of missing values and uneven amount of data. This is because we have manually created the data by making the columns of various variables with respect to their statistical values. So here we can see that it has lots of missing values. It is showing the total count from each columns. The next step is to determine the outliers. So what is an outlier? Outliers are the values which are present outside the range of value in the dataset and can impact the statistical and machine learning models to do the analysis. So as we can see in this table that we have lots of outliers in our dataset, but we won't be removing them as we have limited amount of data. So next step is to visualize data. So we have performed univariate and bivariate analysis for our visualization. So as you can see in this box plot that there are many outliers present in our dataset, but we are not removing them as I have stated earlier that we have limited dataset, so we cannot remove all the outliers from this data. So now this is the heat map. It has different variables like age, citizenship, ethnicity, marital status, etc. So we can see that there is a higher correlation between the citizenship count and the mobility status. This pair plot shows the different count of our labor force. We have also done the multivariate analysis. So there are 3 regions, Simcoe, Muskoka and Blue Mountain, and we have taken immigrants count here. So as you can see, the Simcoe has the largest number of non-immigrants as compared to other 2 regions. Here we have shown the citizenship count. So as you can see, the Simcoe has the highest number of citizens which are over 18 as compared to other region, as Simcoe is the biggest region of all of them. In this figure, we have shown the labor force status from different region. So the Simcoe region has the highest number of labor force, as you can see from this data. The darker one highlighted shows the highest value. So here we are showing the place of work status. So as you can see, the Simcoe has the highest number of usual place of work, and the other region like work at home and work outside Canada has the least count. So this graph shows us the Simcoe region has the highest number of postgraduate certificate and diploma as compared to other degrees in all the other regions, while the non-university certificate has the lowest count. So now I will hand it over to Pramnit to proceed further.
Thank you, Pushkar. So we'll now be sharing a demonstration of the k-means clustering model we have made so far. K-means clustering is a popular algorithm in unsupervised machine learning that is used to partition a dataset into distinct, non-overlapping groups or clusters. The goal of k-means clustering is to group similar data points together and assign them to clusters while minimizing the within cluster sum of squares, which measures the square Euclidean distance between each data point and the mean of its assigned cluster. I'll now be showing the code in Python Jupyter Notebook. Here's the demonstration. Feature scaling. There is a need of standardizing the data before we build the model. Scaling down of all attributes to the same normal scale is important here. Min-max scaler is a type of feature scaling technique commonly used in machine learning and data analysis. Feature scaling is a process of normalizing or standardizing the range of independent variables or features of a dataset. Min-max scaler in particular scales the data to a specific range, usually between 0 and 1. As you can see, we first checked the columns, imported the scikit-learn, and imported the min-max scaler via scikit-learn. After that, filling all the null values, we finally have the final array right here. After this array, then we have this Hopkins statistic. So it's important to check whether the given data has some meaningful clusters or not. The process to evaluate the data to check if the data is feasible for clustering or not is known as clustering tendency. To check clustering tendency, we use Hopkins test. Hopkins test examines whether data points differ significantly from uniformly distributed data in the multi-dimensional space. In other words, how well the data can be clustered. Here, after creating this function, the Hopkins statistic, as you can see, is 0.99. After creating this function, we arrived at the fact that 0.99 indeed is a very good statistic for clustering. K-means clustering. We'll now run k-means and choose k using both elbow and silhouette score. As you can see, we used matplotlib and created a list of clusters for the number cluster to arrive to this elbow method graph. In this elbow curve method, the total within cluster sum of square measures the compactness of the clustering, and it should be as small as possible for better clustering results. There is less reduction in the sum of square distance, as you can see after cluster number 3 in elbow method. After this, we have silhouette analysis. The maximum silhouette score is at cluster number 10. So after creating this function, we arrived to this graph, which is the silhouette score. As we can see, the maximum is at number 10. But as both differ, we can take 6 as it is a high silhouette score and rather less reduction. We must take the silhouette score and the elbow method into consideration. So with both methods, to select optimum clusters, we would choose 6 clusters as the optimal number. Choosing the model from the above results, we could see that using 6 clusters provided a better output in terms of a balanced cluster size. So we would consider the k-means with 6 clusters as our final model. Here are some insights. Here we have the k-means clusters, as you can see right here. They're made based on some certain columns after creating the necessary arrays such as household characteristics right here and education counts right here. After this, here finally we have the final 6 clusters based on certain 6 selected entities which are most important. As we can see, using matplotlib, we took into consideration income, workplace, income, inequality, housing, education, and citizenship as our main 6 entities for comparison. From 0 to 5, we have all the 6 clusters that we took. After this, we compared some graphs. And finally, we arrived at 4 major important decisions. That the top mental factor based on the K clusters are residential instability. Educational factor based on that is food insecurity. Employment factor based on the K cluster is unemployment. And top immigration factor based on the K cluster is non-immigrants.
Thank you, Pravneet, for explaining the insights and working of machine learning model. Now we have the Power BI dashboard, which is still under progress. We are planning to create 4 different panes in order to incorporate the relevant KPIs and have decided to split the panes based upon different categories, such as the first pane here, it reflects the general demographics of the 3 regions. It will have interactive buttons on the left side, which will enable the user to switch to different panes with ease. And we have also decided to include only 4 to 5 visuals in each pane so that it's clearly visible. And we have decided to use different types of graphs such as tree maps, donut pie charts, bar charts to reflect different kinds of stats. And here's another dashboard we have worked so far. This one includes some card visuals which are about the low income measures, about some education stats, as well as the income of households, and also tells about the work activity status. We are currently working on the other 2 dashboards, and these are something which we are looking forward to show to our client in our following call, which is scheduled for this week on Thursday. So these are all the email communications and client meetings we have had so far, which we covered in our previous presentation. But most importantly, there's an upcoming presentation coming in which we will show the working of our full completed dashboard to our client, and we would gain some valuable feedback from them.
Thank you, Gurleen. So now we have the cost of the project. It was split into charter and proposal, requirement gathering, designing of the project plan, development of the project, QA and testing, review and feedback, followed by the submission delivery of the project. There were a total of 93 hours budgeted towards this project. So far, the actual cost hours were split into 15 hours for the charter and proposal, 18 for the gathering of requirements, 27 for the designing, and 14 so far for the development of the project. Possible challenges. There aren't any challenges, but just the completion of the dashboard for delivery to the client for testing is pending, which is going to happen this week. Targets for the next 1 week. We're going to continue working on the Power BI dashboard to deliver to the client for testing, possibly enhance the machine learning model or create another one for comparison. Thank you, everyone. Hope you liked this presentation. Thank you so much.